Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 12 DraftKings first look. Congratulations on all the turkey. Congratulations on surviving your Thanksgiving meal with family and all of that stuff. We're going to talk about the main slate here on this video. The 10 games that we have this weekend, and oh boy, are there a whole lot of stinkers. It's going to be an interesting slate to say the least. Multiple games with totals of 35 and down, but somebody's got to win all the money. So it might as well be us. I'm going to take a look at everything that there is to take a look at on this slate. We're going to look at building a tournament lineup through a quarterback double stack, a bring back, a secondary stack, all the things that we typically do. And if you wanted to talk more about the slate with some like-minded people who are trying to get better every day at daily fantasy sports, head over to our Discord at smizzle.tv/Discord. There is an option to become a Discord subscriber within the Discord. It's $5 a month. It's right there on the top of the list. Or you can get access to those VIP channels and the weekly cheat sheet that comes out every single Friday by becoming a channel member here on YouTube. They both have the same perms. Go to smizzle.tv/join. The Discord way is a little bit easier for you because you don't have to worry about linking and verifying your YouTube subscription. All the instructions are there in the Discord. And thank you guys for watching. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
The Week 12 Smizz Gang Listener League is posted. It is $10. As always, it's 3 max, and 4,000 entrants will be running for the top prize of $4,000. However, because it is a rake-free contest and the best contest that exists on DraftKings, it doesn't exist in the lobby. You got to go to smizzle.tv/links to find the link tree with links to the Listener League, our Discord, and everything else that I do. So make sure you head over there to smizzle.tv/links and get your 3 entries in the Listener League today. Let's take a look at who we have on this slate, and oh baby, is it ugly. The New England Patriots go up against the Danny DeVito-led Giants. Total of 33.5. I haven't seen a total of 33.5 in games where there's like a foot of snow expected, or a torrential downpour, or a hurricane. 33.5 is absurd for this to be a total. This is absurd. Chad is saying Pats are favored. I'm not talking about the favorite. I'm talking about this ugly total. This is combined. They think both teams will allow for that many points. The Steelers go up against the Bengals without Joe Burrow. 35.5. F. Jaguars in Houston, finally. Closely, hotly contested game with a lot of places that we can go for fantasy. 47 is a total there. Jags favored by 1. Buccaneers and Colts 43.5. Colts favored by 2.5. Interesting situation here. I'll talk to you about it in just a minute. If I forget, remind me about chat. Remind me about Jonathan Taylor in a minute when I get to the running backs. Panthers go up against the Tennessee Titans. 37. Saints and the Falcons 42. Guess what, guys? We get to tilt Arthur Smith again this weekend. Thankful about that. Browns and the Broncos 35.5. Oh God. Rams and Cardinals 44.5. This game looks like it could be interesting. Chiefs and Raiders 44. Chiefs favored by 9.5. Bills and Eagles, the highlight game of the day, the game of the century of the week. 47.5 total here. Eagles favored by 3.5. Everything else is on showdowns or Black Friday or Thanksgiving, and that leaves us with the 10 games that we have on this slate. I mentioned that I wanted to talk about this, so let me just do it now. 6,900 for Jonathan Taylor. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't mute volume to opposing running backs, but they definitely mute efficiency. And it's not like the Colts have done a great job running the football with Jonathan Taylor the last 2 games that they've played. Against New England, 3 yards per carry. Against Carolina, 2.6 yards per carry. And Carolina, not exactly a very good defense against opposing running backs. So there's some issues going on in this Colts running game that they're just having a whole lot of inefficiency. Luckily for Jonathan Taylor, he still maintains the big playability that he's going to have or has brought to the table every year of his career. I'm hoping for 25 opportunities, not unlike Christian McCaffrey's 26 opportunities that he got back in week 11. However, expecting Jonathan Taylor to be hyper efficient against a team like Tampa Bay, who does a great job of being a pass funnel, is going to be tough. But Chad had mentioned that they were interested in Minshew stacks. I think that they're in play this week. Let's take a look at the quarterbacks and let's start there. Jalen Hurts, 8,300. Should be a good game. And like DVP kind of gets thrown out the window when you're playing against the most efficient offenses that are out there. We are waiting to see if Goddard is still going to be out for this week. They play on Monday night. I try not to include Monday Night Football players in the first look because of injuries and other stuff like that. We'll monitor these guys as the week goes along. Obviously, Philly players and Kansas City players are in play. Mahomes priced at 8,200 against Las Vegas. If you wanted to go with Travis Kelce or the running backs, have at it. I'm not including them in this video because of injury possibilities, especially with how crazy this year has been with them. Josh Allen at 8,100 going up against Philly in this game. Philly has been susceptible to downfield passes and to passes over the middle of the field specifically, either to running backs or tight ends between the hashes, slot receivers, or guys who get over the top. Josh Allen definitely has that within his skill set. We'll see how well this offensive line can protect him at 8,100. And CJ Stroud is the fourth highest priced quarterback on the slate against a team that has allowed points in bunches to opposing quarterbacks. Interesting. I'm going to put a pin in that. Kyler Murray against the Rams. He's been solid his first two games, rushing touchdown in both, only one passing touchdown. He's going to have to step that efficiency up if he's going to have a 30-plus fantasy point day. He's got enough weapons on the outside to be able to make it happen, a good enough tight end, and the Rams are kind of having to slow games down. Hopefully the Rams can score some points. At least we know that the Rams are going to be a little bit more funneled this week with Cooper Kupp re-injuring the ankle. They said it's not possibly serious, but like if he's out, the path to Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams should be coming back this weekend from injury. Monitor the Rams as the week goes on. I will like them more later in the week once we get a little more clarity on what they're doing, and definitely don't listen to what Sean McVay says on the stuff other than active or inactive. Never trust him. Trevor Lawrence, 6,400 in that same game. We finally saw the 30-point outburst, mostly because of the 2 touchdowns that he threw. They're still somewhat clueless in the red zone. They just kind of do whatever. But 3 of his last 4 games, 4 of his last 5 games, like, he's been a solid quarterback. They just haven't done much for fantasy this year. A lot of that is because they've played from ahead in a lot of these games. And the games that they played from ahead, we saw Travis Etienne go just absolutely nutso. This is a different situation against Houston, who coming into the year was not a good defense against opposing rushing attacks, but they've grown in that stance and have forced teams to have to throw against them. I think that this game is the most likely to shoot out on the slate and comes in at a lower price. Stafford, as I mentioned, if he's there, I'm assuming he's going to be there. If Cooper Kupp is not there, where's the Rams? This game does give you, we have 4 games in the afternoon. So like 6 early games, 4 afternoon games on a shorter slate. So PMR is going to come into play on this one. Low ankle sprain, so not a high ankle sprain. Let's monitor and see if that ankle sprain moves up the leg. If he misses action for this Rams team, Puka Nacua at 7,600 might go back to this Puka Nacua that we saw at the beginning of the year, as opposed to this Puka Nacua when Kupp is running around and running routes. So I much prefer the other Puka Nacua. E-House, thank you very much for the 66 months. That's an awfully long time. Appreciate you. A couple other quarterbacks, if you wanted to get cheaper at the position, right? Will Levis, no. Against Cleveland, I'm not interested in. Baker Mayfield at 5,500 is certainly interesting. 15 touchdown passes on the year. We've seen him have a couple of multiple touchdown games against New Orleans, 23.94 points. He's not expensive, and you kind of know where the ball's going, whether it's going to be to Mike Evans or Godwin or Otten. And then you could possibly include with him Rachaad White, who I was told that people's grandmothers had better combine numbers than him, but your grandma ain't posting 15.1 fantasy points per game and somewhat closer to 18.5 fantasy points per game over the last 5 weeks. Your grandma can't hold Rachaad White's jockstrap. I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. 6,100 is entirely too cheap for me to not consider Rachaad White into this lineup. I'm not going to go with a full-on Tampa Bay stack in that one, though I do think that that game could get a little bit loose. I do want to stack through this game. The problem is, without extreme value, 7,700 is a lot to pay for CJ Stroud on a first look. We're recording this on Monday at about 11:20 in the morning on the West Coast, the best coast. So I'm going to come down 1,300 and get me some Trevor Lawrence into this lineup. That means I've got to find something. I'm going to go with, we saw Ridley have himself a monster day, right? 9 targets finally. he's been yo-yoing all over the place. They finally utilized him in the red zone last week, had a 34-point day, should get people to cycle back to him, but Christian Kirk now comes in at a value, had 6 targets in that game. Monitor Zay Jones throughout the week. He changes things for them a little bit. 5,700. Zay Jones is only 3,900. So again, monitor that situation. But I need a tight end. And they've got to get Evan Engram going in the red zone because it's just not enough. He's only 4,200. The volume is enough to pay this off without a touchdown. But if he does score one, whether it be from inside the red zone or the one end zone target that he has on the year, that's also his only red zone target on the year. Give me this value stack, 64, 57, 4,200 for Jacksonville here against Houston. And I'm not going to stop firing Tank Dell into lineups just because you raised his salary 6,900 from 5,900, Mr. DraftKings. I'm just going to keep firing this absolute stud of a fantasy king into my lineups because he's just too good. 5,100 remaining. I've got to find a little bit of correlation to go along with Rachaad White. Taking a look at what we have over here, like I said, Minshew's 5,100. If you wanted to go with a value Minshew double, go for it. Joshua Downs got hurt, played through a knee injury. I think he's a better value right now than Michael Pittman Jr. at 6,800, but we have to pay attention to whether or not he's going to play. I will grow on him throughout the week, on Downs throughout the week, if his injury status looks like it's completely clear and he's practicing throughout the week and not on the injury report for Sunday. Michael Pittman, however, getting all the volume that we want. 20 targets, 33 targets over the last 3 weeks. You had this 14 ball against Jacksonville the last time that they played. He makes for a very easy correlation play with Rachaad White. 2 things that the opposing teams really don't have very much possibility of stopping. I need a defense. Fine. Just plug a cheap. The Rams against Arizona. Sure. That opens up a running back slot and a wide receiver. We have 11,000 remaining. There was a narrative street play. We need a running back. Taking a look at some of the good plays. Buffalo has not been efficient at stopping opposing running backs. DeAndre Swift has gotten more than enough volume. People will always be scared of him because of the tush push, the brotherly shove. So he's never going to carry a ton of ownership with him on a Sunday main slate, especially not at a price of 6,500 or above. But the upside is there if he does not get vultured and they let him score a close touchdown. 6,800 is easily a solid price for him. Saquon Barkley, really low total. Alvin Kamara, really high price spot against Atlanta. Yes, we could get a lot of targets in this game. He does have a solid floor. He can go bonkers randomly anytime, but paying 8,400 when there's players that are 2,000 less than him, like Kyron Williams coming back from, reportedly coming back from IR, and looking at the volume that he got before the injury, he's priced way up against Arizona at 6,600. Bijan Robinson is 100 less than him, coming off of a 24 opportunity game, now squares off against New Orleans, who has a solid DVP against opposing running backs on touchdowns. But if we look at what the Saints have allowed on the ground to opposing running backs, it's been a lot of yards. Atlanta wants to establish the hell out of it. This could be a very sneaky spot where casuals aren't going to play Bijan because of this randomized, they haven't allowed a lot of touchdown stuff. But Carolina's been legit bad against opposing running backs. Hell, they let Tony Pollard score a touchdown last week. And Derrick Henry's only 6,400. Derrick Henry got scripted out of the last 2 games. Tampa Bay, very tough against opposing running backs. Jacksonville ran away from them early, and there was no way that he was going to be able to play in that game. The previous 3 games and 4 of the last 5 before that, against Cincinnati, where he posted 27.3, Baltimore 19.3, Atlanta 19.2, and Pittsburgh 19.2. When you get a player who hasn't performed for a couple of weeks, the price goes down from mid 7Ks to the low 6Ks. He has a fantastic matchup at home and favored with a rookie quarterback who they need to take the pressure off of. This looks like a 25+ opportunity spot for Derrick Henry to go absolutely nuclear at 6,400. So I'm going to plug in Derrick Henry, leaving me 4,700 to go. So we're going to have to find a sub 5K wide receiver. Looking all the way down here, Drake London at 5K, very good play. If you wanted to come down off the Rams to get to him, I'm fine with that. Deontay Johnson, I know he let us down in week 10 against Green Bay. And again, another situation where he should get a lot of targets. It's just an ugly situation. He's only 4,900. Not a lot of upside there with the quarterback. Downs is 48. Boyd, bad quarterback situation, but potentially volume locked in if Higgins is out for this game as well. But you know who's got volume against a really bad team who can't stop anything? Is Demario Douglas. Once again, 4,400. This is way too cheap for the volume that he's gotten. The injuries that are abound in that Patriots wide receiver room, losing, possibly being without Devontae Parker right now, losing Kendrick Bourne. There's just not all that much talent, and the snaps and the routes and the targets are there to be had for 4,400. So we're going to plug him in as a one-off, leaving us with this Lawrence double stack, Rashad White, Pittman as a secondary stack, standalone King Derrick Henry, and standalone Demario Douglas. That's our first look for this week. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.